Welcome, everyone. My name is Sarana Hicks, and I'm the Trans Program Manager at Spectra. In April 2019, Spectra launched a 4-year trans empowerment and support program funded by the National Lotteries Community Fund. And our guest today is someone who started out with Spectra as a counseling service user and is now a peer mentor and also the director of the Helpful Clinic, and the person who also developed First Aid for Feelings. Welcome, Thor, and thanks for joining me.
Hi, Serena. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great that you're here. First off, Thor, really helpful to know, how did you find and become involved with Spectra in the first place?
So at the start of my transition, I was going to trans FTM meetings in London. There was a way of finding my way into the community. And somebody from Spectra came and did a little talk about the counseling services that you provided at the time. And
Mm.
because I was right at the beginning of I'd done sort of the social part of my transition. I'm non-binary, so I'd sort of done that. But starting the medical journey my medical transition was a really big sort of uphill mountain that I was facing, and actually being able to come into, I think it was 8 sessions that I had with the counsellor at Spectra, was fundamental to me at this time. Just finding my way and also building a sense of confidence and also understanding the path. So I was really grateful for those sessions that I had back in 2017.
Well, that's really fantastic. It would be really helpful to know how you transitioned from service user to becoming a mentor, and how long did that take?
So actually, I saw a call out. I can't remember. I think it was on social media that you were looking for peer mentors, and so I got in touch, and actually we spoke and met up. And then there was a period of training. There was a bit of training that we had to do in order to sort of become, I guess, qualified or accredited to be a peer mentor for Spectra. And actually, it was a very easy process. I found you very reassuring. I found the handbook that you'd put together, because this was the beginning of the program. It was really very clear. And one of the challenges for me was because I'm actually a clinician, I'm a therapist. So one of my concerns was, how do I make sure that because this is a very different space.
Mm.
And I found that the training I got with you was really helpful to really be clear on where that boundary is. And then the handbook as well was really helpful for me. So actually the training and to becoming a peer mentor was really effortless and well held for me, and didn't take that long. Actually, it was kind of thorough, but it didn't take very long until I actually came through the training and I had my first mentee.
Oh, that's really super. It's really good to know. You were one of our first mentors, actually. I think it was in 2019, as far back as then, that you
Yeah,
actually
it was right in
came
the
on board.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what exactly does peer mentoring involve? I think, as opposed to other forms of support.
So what I really like about peer mentoring, it really is the emphasis on peers. So this is me working with somebody who is my peer, who is also on this journey. The difference is that I'm just a bit further along on my journey than the person is. So it's a way of kind of having almost like a friendly chat and a casual conversation about things. And also what I do as a peer mentor, which I don't do in my own work, is that actually I share more of my own experience. So I will be giving
Mm.
examples of how I handled something or what I personally found difficult. So it's much more of we're both talking together about our experiences rather than I'm the clinician helping you to do something.
Right.
Obviously, that also means that there are limitations to what we can talk about. So we're not talking about working through trauma. This is not therapy. This is not counseling.
Mm.
This is more kind of hand holding, like, oh, yeah, maybe if you speak to the advocacy, Jack does advocacy for Spectra. I think it might be helpful you speak to Jack. Or actually, when you go into the first appointment with the gender clinic, I found it helpful to do this, this, and that.
Mm.
So it's more like kind of what's the process like. And also what we have is are the modules that we've talked about as well, the modules that are specific
Yes,
for
the
the
peer,
mentoring
peer
journey.
mentoring modules. Yes.
Yeah. So in that respect, it's actually quite clear boundaries, and I quite like boundaries. They help me feel safe. Um, and also that's that kind of sense of there's a bit of a pathway through. We set up goals in the one or two the first 1 or 2 sessions about what we want to achieve through the mentoring, which is usually 8 sessions.
Yes.
So it starts with a bit of sharing a bit of history from each other, identifying the goals and the module we want to work with. We then work through that through the 8 sessions we have. And then at the end, we kind of review, have we reached those goals? And so when the person finishes the peer mentoring, they've got kind of a sense of next steps or something like that.
Amazing. Really, really succinct. What have you actually learnt from the sessions that you've done overall? I mean, what are your thoughts on what you've actually learnt as a mentor? Have you
I think the key learning for me just is how essential this service is. I really find that people, first of all, are just so grateful that there is other people out there like them. I think that's also just like being able to talk to somebody who's like me. I mean, it was radical back when I met the first non-binary person in real life. It was radical for me because I hadn't met anybody like that before. So I think that's one thing. I think also just that there is this sense of need. There's a big sense, or there's a big need for people who are peer mentors, who are not clinicians, who are not professionals,
Yes.
who I can be a bit more, yeah, there's a bit sort of there's a sort of a
Expert by experience.
yeah, expert, but also we can have a chat.
Yes.
This isn't like a consultation where we are coming in with stuff to work on. We're just having a chat about stuff. And sometimes it goes in all sorts of directions. And I think that's been really eye-opening to me as a learning, and also how much I enjoy it. So I think that's, also part of peer mentoring is that it's a mutual
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. We learn
It's
from each
not,
other.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, my next question is, what type of issues do mentees generally present with? I mean, is there commonalities, or, you do have your modules that you work with, but generally, what kind of high support, complex needs, what kind of issues?
I think it's sort of this twofold. If I think about the kind of goals we set at the beginning, the goals tend to be either around an action, like coming out to friends and family, or how to handle coming out at work, like
Mm,
changing pronouns and stuff like that, or starting on hormones. So there's some action involved. So how to do this, and that, and maybe sometimes in what sequence.
yeah.
The other aspect is more about feeling. So the other goals, the feeling related goals are feeling more confident in who I am, feeling more informed about who I am and other people who are similar to me. So I think those will be the sort of the two main threads. One is kind of more action orientated, and the other one is more feeling orientated.
I think there's an aspect of signposting as well that we do, not only to other
Yes.
Spectra services, but externally as well, which is really helpful. Crisis intervention is not something
Yeah.
primarily that we do, but of course we're trained to support people through that, to
Yeah.
report safeguarding complaints. There are a lot of elements to the training that support
Yeah.
people to be professional
Yeah.
in the course of their sessions. One thing I did
I
want
think
to
also,
ask you.
sorry, if I just check in with that as well, one thing
Mm,
that's really great is that if I'm ever in doubt or I've always got you, I can always check in with you to say, I've got this person I'm supporting, I'm concerned about this or that, so I've got somebody to kind of just talk things through with. So I don't always have to rely on my own kind of knowing. And I think also the
absolutely.
other thing is that sometimes I will spot like a vulnerability. I know that like with Spectra is at a hardship fund, so there are things there that I might be able to check out with or be like with, Jack being on the advocacy, that kind of knowledge, being able to share that with people, I think is also really vital, as well as risk assessment and stuff like that.
Yes, oh, absolutely. Well, thanks for mentioning those two other, elements of the program or Spectra support, in essence. Um,
Yeah,
I think it's an important component to assist people who are really struggling,
yeah,
having a particular hardship. So mentors tap into those services, or if somebody wants health advocacy, they could actually
yeah,
tap into the advocacy service or our counseling.
yeah.
The waiting list has been reinstated very recently, I think just yesterday, so that's great.
Okay.
And but I understand that we've received quite a number of referrals in one day.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
much needed services. Can you tell us a little bit about your clinic and how it serves the community?
So I think because I'm confident, I'm sturdy, me and myself and I have a great relationship, that people can often think that I've got it all sussed, and I really don't. So one of the things I really know and I've learned over the years is that I have vulnerabilities. My inner critic can sometimes work overtime,
Mm,
and one of the things that's been so instrumental for me was actually learning to apply first aid to myself,
yes.
first aid my feelings, and also learning how to support myself in terms of pain and fatigue, which is kind of, so my area of expertise are pain and fatigue. So I work in those areas specifically.
Right.
So as I started working with people and realizing just how much this was needed, I set up the Helpful Clinic as a social enterprise. So we have the helpful clinics supporting people with health support directly. So pain and fatigue, stress, anxiety are the kind of four main things. But also, even though I developed first aid for feelings originally for me, because I needed it, because I had complex PTSD, I was ill with ME fibromyalgia, so there's a lot of need there. But also because I just being trans was a very confusing experience. And back in the day, we didn't even have words for non-binary.
Mm,
So I very much developed this out of need. And I think also being open about that and talking about first aid for feelings and recognizing it as something that we all need, but particularly for those of us who have that vulnerability, I think is a real part of kind of why I show up in my day, why I start my day in the mornings is because
yes.
of that kind of aspiration to be of service.
And it's been really helpful also for mentors because you did first aid for feelings training with our mentors as well. You've
Yeah,
actually also worked as a trainer or supported me as a trainer on one of the training courses for new mentors as well. That's been really helpful. Thank you for that. Um,
yeah.
as one of the
And I
first,
think being visible to others and just showing that, because we are trans, what we share is being trans,
Mhm.
there is kind of vulnerability there, but also there's a strength there. So one of the things I talk about is ISOPs. I created this word ISOP, which is a shorthand for issue opportunity. And so, and in a way, the clinic and the first aid for feelings training, the book I'm writing with a co-author, the first aid for
Mhm.
feelings manual, these are all ISOPs. These are opportunities that have come out of my vulnerability. So I think we often see so much of our struggles, and they are true and real. But also within our struggles, there are also very rich opportunities for us to show up and sort of be contributing and participating in the world.
Yes. We really appreciate you being of service to the community and really looking forward to your book as well.
Great, thank
Uh,
you.
uh, my last question is, as one of the the first trained mentors going back to 2019, why do you still do it after all this time?
I just love it. I love hanging out with other people, particularly people who I share experiences with. I find it's a way for me to take care of my kind of inner transness and my own kind of fragility and vulnerability in that. Helps me feel connected to other people in similar situations. So, from a very selfish perspective, it nourishes me. I find it really supportive to my own being. And then of course I love being of service to others. I love being able to go like, yeah, oh man, yeah, I had that too. And just being able to share some of the hacks and tips that i've
Yes,
i've got over the years. So every person I meet through the program, every peer mentor I'm matched with, I learn something from them. We're such a
yes,
beautiful community that it's a real privilege, I feel, to be part of it.
yes. Well, I really do appreciate your time is really valuable, and I appreciate the time that you've given me today. And it's been a joy to speak to you. Just for the audience, if you feel that peer mentoring might be right for you, please check out our website at www.spectra-london.org.uk. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much, Thor. It's been a pleasure. Take care.
Wonderful, thank you.
Bye.